Hey guys, welcome to Mitch's Vinyl Corner and thanks for stopping by. Today I wanted to do a video on the 10 most valuable records in my collection according to Discogs. For those of you who don't know, Discogs is probably the world's largest musical repository website out there, meaning you can go search up pretty much any album that's ever been released and find out all of the different types of releases from different years, from different countries, on different formats, so CD, vinyl, 8-track, reel-to-reel, I mean, even Laserdisc. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So you can definitely find yourself in a huge rabbit hole if you spend a lot of time on that site. But it's also a place to where people can go and buy and sell their records as well, kind of just like eBay. They also offer a grading system on there, so you can actually add your own collection on there, like I have, and you can catalog everything, and it'll give you like the low price, the medium price, and the high price for what that particular album on that particular format is pretty much selling for, and what the marketplace is for it. Now, I will say you've had to take it with a grain of salt because just like anything, people were going to buy something for what people were willing to pay for it. So, and I don't mean that to like be condescending or anything. I mean, I've bought records that I've probably overpaid for. I mean, let's be honest, I think we all have. But you just have to be really, really careful. And that's pretty much with anything. You just have to be careful of what you're buying, who you're buying it from, the condition that it's in. And it's kind of just like eBay. If you've ever been on eBay too, there's definitely things on there that the price is definitely inflated. There's shady sellers and there's shady buyers. So, I mean, just go into this with just a word of caution, just in my opinion. Now, I have not bought or sold anything off Discogs particularly. I have bought off eBay before, although I rarely do that. It's only been a few times where I've bought some like really high-end records in what I consider higher end from like dealers that I knew that could be trusted, recommended from other people. So I've bought just a handful of records, maybe not even that much, off eBay, but never off of Discogs. I personally like to go and see the thing for myself and inspect it and just pretty much know for certain what I'm buying. So with that, I'm going to start with number 10. I'm going to go from 10 to 1. And then when I go over each album, I have actually my little sheet of paper here where I'm going to talk about what album it is, the median price, and the high price. And I'm also going to put a little picture up on it too, because I went through each of these albums and I just did the little snipping tool on Windows and I just cut it out and I'll put it in the video. And I'll also tell you what I paid for it because I just want to be upfront and honest with you guys. There's definitely a couple of these I probably overpaid for it, but hey, it's an album I really wanted. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. That's not what I'm here to do. I don't think anybody should do that. It's your money. You have the means. Go spend your money on whatever you want. I'm just going to leave it at that. So the first one I'm actually going to talk about is this one. So this is the Beatles Magical Mystery Tour. Now it's the 1973 German reissue. Now, if you're familiar with Andrew from Parlogram Auctions, he's a guy out of the UK, but I believe he lives in France. He's probably the foremost Beatles expert on YouTube. I mean, he deep dives into their stuff on vinyl, on CD, on cassette. I mean, he does everything. He is a diehard Beatles enthusiast and he's really, really into the Beatles. Oh, drop something here. Excuse me. No edits. So this one is really sought after by a lot of Beatles collectors. It's considered to be probably the best pressing out there of this particular album on vinyl. So this was actually a reissue. I believe this album came out in 68, 69 originally, I believe. And but this one is considered to be like the cream of the crop when it comes to it. Now, this is considered the second pressing. It has the Horzu label on it, but I believe the first one's actually had like the green apple on it. And to ensure that you have this particular pressing, you need to look at the dead wax and make sure that it's the B3 matrix, because from what Andrew was saying, and I'm just kind of summarizing here, the tapes originally when it came out, I believe, were not in true stereo. So I guess they sounded pretty bad. Maybe it's like a stereo fold down. Like, I'm not really sure, but in a nutshell, the sound quality, I guess, really wasn't that good. But when this reissue came out, I guess the German engineers requested the true stereos from Abbey Road. So the median price on this, as of today, I did all this research today, the median price for this one is $108. I paid $175 for this, I believe, about 3 years ago when I was on a trip to Orlando, Florida. Now, the high end on this is $433. I would grade this from what I have. It's definitely VG, at least plus, maybe the excellent or even near mid. I got a beautiful sounding copy. There is not a scratch on this record whatsoever. It sounds incredible. The outer sleeve is really, really good. So I paid $175. The median's about $108. So, but the high is $433. Now, I don't know if that's because there were ones that were like sealed and never opened that sold for that much. I'm just not really sure. But this is number 10. Highly recommended if you're a Beatles fan. And this is definitely the way to go for this particular album. All right, so number 9 is one that I picked up at the Austin Record Show. I bought a lot at that show this year. A couple of my videos, I've mentioned it a couple times. And yeah, I bought a lot of records when I was at that show. So this is Analog Productions' Sonny Rollins' Way Out West. Now, this was from 1992. This is when Analog Productions, I believe, was a subscription service only. And they actually used to number their releases. And I believe this one's actually numbered. Open up and show you. Yeah, this one's a limited edition. This number is 6810. This was pressed on, actually, super vinyl. It was mastered by Doug Sachs on an all-tube system. It was an all-tube analog recording. This record sounds really good. It's phenomenal. So the median on this one is $113. I paid $100 for it, and it was a sealed copy. It had never been opened. So I pretty much got a brand new record. It's practically mint. I paid $100, and the high is $217. So I think I made out pretty good. I believe there's a newer reissue that's out, I believe. I forget. I think it's from Craft Recording. I believe that it's out, but I think it's awaiting a repress right now. I haven't been able to find it, but I saw this at the record show. I had to go buy it, so I picked this up. I think this sounds great. So that's number 9. Let me see, number 8. Yeah. So this is a 1993 U.S. pressing of Pearl Jam's Versus. I picked this up for, let's see, hold on here. I paid about $100 for it, and the median price is $121, and the high is $217. It's not in perfect condition. It's got a couple scratches on it, but it plays really, really well. It's got a lot of dynamics. It sounds really good. If you watched my Pearl Jam 10 video, I pretty much trash on the entire catalog reissue campaign that they did from like 2009 or 2010. If you're going to go with trying to get a good sounding copy of Versus, I think you should definitely hold out for an original US pressing. Again, like the high is like 217, and I believe that was a sealed copy. I think with the hype sticker, there used to be a sticker on here with just the band name Pearl Jam, I believe, in all red. But great sounding record, highly recommended. Let's see, number 7. All right, so this next one is Jackie McLean's Right Now, and this is from Music Matters Jazz. Now, for those of you who don't know, Music Matters Jazz is pretty much a reissue label, I believe, based out of California. They go in some really, really good high-end audiophile type jazz records from Blue Note catalog. Now, a lot of them are currently in print, not by Music Matters Jazz. I'm talking about the albums themselves. A lot of them are currently in print either by the Tone Poet reissue series or the Blue Note Classic series. The big thing about the Music Matters Jazz is that they do 33 and 45. However, they're very limited and they go out of print very, very, very quickly. And then on the secondary market, they just shoot up in price. But if you can find some of them for a decent price, I highly recommend you do it, especially ones that are not currently in print through the Tone Poet or the Blue Note Classic series. So I paid $150 for it. I believe this was in a trade when I was out in California. I forgot what I traded, but I traded a couple of albums. The median is 150, so I guess essentially break even, and the high is 228. You can tell if it's a Blue Note Classic, if it's a Music Matters, is that it comes with the hype sticker right here. And these are all analog, and they're all cut by Kevin Gray, one of the best mastering engineers in the world, if not the best. All right, number 6. Now, this one I picked up in California back when I was stationed out there about a year and a half ago. I was actually out in San Clemente, and there was a record store there, and I saw this on the wall for $125, and he gave it to me, I think, for $100. This is the Beatles' Please Please Me. Now, this is an original 1963 first Australian pressing. Now, the big thing about this one is, if you watch Andrew from Parlogram Auctions, he talks about the Australian pressings and how they compare to the original UKs. A lot of them use the original master tapes that were sent over by EMI because EMI had plants in Australia as well. And they use the original tapes there to press their vinyl. So this is a first pressing because this is a true first pressing, because this has the original Parlophone label. Now, the later pressings had like the black and gold one. I'll put a picture up on it. But this is a true first Australian pressing. It's in mono. It's a little banged up. It's not terrible. I would put I'd say it's probably VG, maybe the VG Plus. However, it's a mono cut. Any scratches or anything in it is heavily deep because it's cut really hot and it's cut really loud, which is good. It sounds really, really good. The cover itself, here, I'll bring the cover out. It's definitely seen its better days. I'd probably put it at like the good, maybe very good, but I'd more so say the good because it's just pretty beat up. But it sounds really, really good. So I paid $100 for it. The median is 164 and the high is 394. So I think that's pretty good. So came out a little bit ahead, but again, with all of these I'm going to show you, I have no plans on selling them. So if they continue to go up in value and whenever the time comes, I do sell them and they're more than what I paid for, good, I'll be happy. All right, so the next one is Led Zeppelin 2. This is a Robert Ludwig RLSS specialty presses. Now, there were different ones. There was Monarch, there was, I believe, Pittman, Allentown. There were a lot of pressing plants of these. So I actually have two versions of this, but this one was the one that came out in the top 10. So this is a specialty pressing. Now, I'm not sure the difference. It's just like the different pressing plants, but still the same mix, nothing different about it. But I picked this one up for about $20 a couple of weeks ago. There was a little like retro fair kind of thing at one of the breweries down in Wilmington that I went to and picked this up. This one is actually in better shape than the other one that I have that I got out in California. This one's a lot cleaner. It sounds much better than the one that I have, although that one sounds really good too. It's just not as beat up, so there's not as many skips. There's hardly any skips. I cleaned this with my Humming Guru ultrasonic record cleaner. It sounds absolutely amazing. It sounds incredible. This is what Led Zeppelin is all about right here. So I paid $20. The median is $152, but the high is $1,500. Now, this is where we get into it was probably a sealed copy, maybe a near mint copy. I wasn't able to go find out at that final price when it sold, what condition it was in. I wasn't able to find that information, but I would bet to assume that it was probably like a near mint copy, if I were just to guess. But $20, I can sell this for probably 150, $200 and make out okay. But again, I don't have any plans on getting rid of this anytime soon. All right, so we're going to go into the top 4 now. The next one is, you guys have seen this if you watched my Pink Floyd video. This one is Pink Floyd's The Wall promo Pittman pressing. Now this one has the band sticker on it and the timing sheet, and also the gold stamp promo. So I paid $350 for this at the Austin Record Convention, and I would go to say this one is almost to like an excellent grading. I wouldn't go as high as near mint. I would say at least excellent. There's not a skip in this thing. It sounds incredible. The vinyl is spectacular on it. It's just really, really good. It's got the inserts. The cover is a little bit beat up. You can see a little of the wear right here, that little scuffing mark. But overall, it's in really, really good condition. I paid $350. The median on it right now is about $193. Now, people are going to say, oh, Mitch, you got burned. It's like, well, that copy, that $193, I think that was a copy that sold in worse condition than mine. And the high on it is $695 right now. And I think that's probably for like a near mint copy, or like one that might still be in the shrink or something like that. I wasn't able to find that information. But again, this is a record that I really needed to have. It's been on my want list for years. So paid $350, median's $193, and the high is $695. So it can just, again, with a lot of these albums, they're just going to fluctuate. People are going to pay they're going to pay whatever just to at least have the album. Now, I think this album is only going to continue to go up because, again, copies like this in particular are very, very rare. They're starting to begin to become very, very rare because, U.S. copies, I think the album itself sold like over 20 million copies when it was released worldwide. So there's copies of this pretty much everywhere. Even first, like clean, like U.S. copies are out there of this album. But gold stamp promo with all the hype stickers on it, they're becoming really rare. And to be in as good a shape as I found this one. All right, so number 3, we got the top 3. You've seen this one before. I did my Pearl Jam shootout. This is a 1994 U.S. pressing. This album was released in 1991. However, it did not get a vinyl release in the US until 1994. I paid $200 for this record. The median is $221, so not bad. And then the high is $550. So I saw a couple at the Austin Record Show that were sealed. However, I talked to a couple buyers that I've bought off of previously and that knew me from some of the shows I was at when I was stationed in California. So we got to talking. There were a couple that I saw that were sealed, but they had some outer damage on the album cover itself, and they looked a little warped. So I told them about it. They're like, "Hey, steer away from that." One of the guys I bought it off of had a really good sounding copy. It's a VG++. Sounds really good. Got some condition issues on the outside of the album, but you're not going to find a better sounding version of this album than a US pressing. I'm sorry. I don't think there's any other pressing out there that is going to sound this good. So again, bought for under the median price, so came out under what it's going for. So really happy with this copy. So all right, the top two. Now this is probably the best grail find ever in my collection. So this is an original Stooges debut album from 1969. I bought this at where I live at. There is a big flea market here. Actually, there's a couple, but one in particular. It's a big flea market. There's a big vinyl section in the back corner from a couple guys that compile a lot of their collections together and they sell them. So it's like your typical there's a bunch of Elvis, there's a bunch of classic rock, there's a lot of really common stuff. There's not really Blue Note jazzes that you're going to find in there or anything like that, like original Blue Notes. None of that in there, but you never know what you can find. But the last time I went there, I actually found this album. Now, as soon as I saw it, I immediately grabbed it. I was like, oh man, I got to check this thing out. So this album is still in the shrink. And this is an original pressing. I went on Discogs and I was shocked that this guy had it priced for what he did. This was $40. Now this is an original shrink. The album cover itself is in really good condition. Comes with the sleeve. Now I believe it also came with a sleeve that looks like, if you're a big Doors collector, it's got the gold. It's got the gold inner sleeve on it. It was supposed to come with that one too, or I'm not really sure if it only came with this one or that one, but when I checked on Discogs, they had both, so I think it might be missing that one. But the album itself was pretty much never played. I couldn't believe it. This is just a fantastic sounding record. I took it home. I ultrasonically cleaned it. There is not a scratch on this thing. It sounds incredible. If you just want a good, solid, just a down and dirty rock album from the late 60s, from one of the premier bands that inspired pretty much punk rock, it's this album. It sounds fantastic. Again, I paid $40 for it. The median is $222, and the high on it is $1,075. Now, I'm not sure if this gentleman just didn't know what he had, or maybe due to the fact that where I currently live, not a lot of people are buying vinyl around here. It's kind of a slower pace. It's not a big city. Maybe that was it, but I couldn't believe it. So I was extremely happy when I found this thing. All right, so number one. This is Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, Night in Tunisia. And this is also from the Music Matters reissue label. I picked this one up a couple weeks ago when I was home in Pittsburgh, my hometown, where I'm originally from. went to a record store called The Attic. If you're in the Pittsburgh area, it's probably the best record store in the area. You should definitely go visit. So the owner had just recently bought an entire run of Music Matters Jazz, 45 and 33 RPM um, records from a seller in the local area. Now, none of these were sealed; they were all open, but they were all pretty much near mint condition. I mean, he said it was probably one of the best collections he had ever picked up. So I paid $150 for it. The median price is $256, and the high is $380. So according to Discogs, according to the median value, now I should have prefaced this early in the video. If I would have went with just solely based on the high end, I think that might have been a little bit unfair because, again, a lot of these prices might have been inflated. Probably just like a one-off, like an astronomically like rare version of it sold for that much. Like, I really just figured that if I was going to do this video, I wanted to go with the median value because the median value is more than likely what people are actually going to pay for it. Because if I would have just went with the high end, one of the Robert Ludwig Led Zeppelin 2s that I have, I think was valued at like $2,500 on the high end. My copy is in nowhere probably near that condition that one sold at for $2,500. So I figured if I was just going to do this fair and square, I would just go based solely off the median value. But I was pretty surprised that this one actually came out on top. If you're an Art Blakey fan, you got to have this record. I bought this version because solely there is not a good reissue version that is out there that is in print. Tone Poets haven't done it yet, and neither has the Blue Note Classic series. So I'm not sure if they're going to go do it. This is one of Art Blakey's probably most celebrated albums, and I've seen originals at record shows and record shops that were just way out of my price range that I couldn't pay for. But this is the one that I bought. All right, guys, so those are my top 10 most valuable records, median value-wise, according to Discogs. I really wanted to just do this video because I've seen a lot of other YouTubers do it, and I figured, you know what, I might as well just get it out there and just show you guys what I have. Next week, I'll be going back to doing the deep dives into the catalog. I'll start with that back up again next week, but I wanted to get this one out there. So thank you, everyone, for stopping by, and I'll see you all next time.